We have been talking about the underwater domain for how many years now? I think about 3, 4 years now, almost. And I'm sure we would recall that we have been struggling to emphasize the importance of underwater in the larger sustainability of the planet. Now, I thought, let me just comment on Roshan's, query. Oceans and their benefits are not really new to us. The humanity is familiar with the benefits of ocean, but more so in a very tangible manner. We have been harnessing oceans for food, energy, transportation, recreation, you name it. But now, with the greater understanding of the planetary functions, now we see that while the tangibles are there, but the intangibles are much more important. Be it, the water cycle, the carbon cycle, oxygen cycle, climatic stabilization, you name it. The other day when the Secretary General said, let's conserve, that conserves us, yes, with regard to oceans. Now, the life on the planet, as the other day I mentioned, life on the planet not only originated in ocean, but the ocean has supported the evolution of life on this planet throughout. Without the ocean, the life would not have originated, nor would have evolved, and we would not have existed on the planet. So this is kind of the profoundness of ocean's importance to the society is sometimes not easy for us to understand. It needs a lot of effort. And then we know that the implications or the role of ocean in the preservation of the planet, this is a very complex role. This is in the realms of physical activity, in the chemical activity put together, and then it really impacts a very large phenomena, which then conserves the planet, right? Protects the planet, helps the planet progress, helps in prosperity, helps in production, and all that stuff. And that is why, finally it led to the world community coming up with the concept of sustainable development goals. Because, you can deal with, it's a huge, it's like the 6 blind men and the elephant, right? And the blind men were trying to define the elephant based on what part of the elephant they were touching, right? Without realizing the elephant is much bigger, in fact. That you only realize when all 6 come together and explain their experiences. Then they, oh my God, this is a very different thing. Yes, same as the ocean, in fact. It is huge. As a result, it is difficult to understand, and the complexities in the ocean are much greater than land. You see, in land, you have hard boundaries. Yes. So if something happens in a square mile, you know that it is not easily going to spread to the other parts, except aerial pollution, and that also we understand much better. Yes. And if there are certain things which are spreading beyond those boundaries, you have the capacity of raising physical barriers to that, limiting the damage to a particular geographical position. But oceans have no boundaries in that. So sometimes something happens thousands of miles away, but the impact is felt very differently at a very different place. In fact, I always give this example of El Nino. El Nino happens something about 14,000 kilometers away, but it brings about either floods or drought in India or in other parts of Asia. No, these are the implications of ocean's behavior. And most of those activities are taking place underwater. Yes. And these activities, to understand these activities, the amount of knowledge and effort that's required, it is simply mind-boggling. And that is why I have been saying that, 20 years ago, we were not talking about underwater domain awareness because we thought the kind of data we are dealing with is so immense, it will be humanly impossible to grasp the magnitude of that data and its implication for the planetary functions. Thank God today we have the, cover, which not only assimilate mega data, but can also analyze that mega data into some reasonable conclusions. Yes. Given the magnitude of the oceans, Arnav, we have been saying that, being physically at every part of the ocean to understand what it does is going to be impossible. Therefore, we have been talking about, for example, modeling and simulation. That can we create models and then work out simulation processes? And remember, long back in our discussion, we mentioned, can we develop markers of what's happening underneath? Yes. As an example, today, for example, when one of the presenters were talking about PFZ, right, he said chlorophyll as a marker. Now, I'm very happy that he has tried to identify a marker which then can tell you the story of downstream and upstream activities. What's happening upstream, what's happening downstream, right? The fish biomass, then it can also get linked to the biodiversity angle. It can also get linked to the whole food chain, right? So then what are the factors which are contributing to the chlorophyll concentration, for example, which means the input factors and the output factors. Can you imagine what kind of understanding this single marker can give to us? Yes. And that is where your people are now heading. They are working on what is called foundational building blocks of marine spatial planning. Yes. I will not go into details of marine spatial planning. I hope most of your people understand this. Because without marine spatial planning, oceans conservation is going to be impossible. And without these foundational building blocks, MSP will not be possible. So people must understand what MRC is doing. MRC is creating an enabling environment which then can help us design the MSP frameworks and manage the oceans harnessing within the sustainability limits. Yes. And when it comes to economic, benefits, I see very tangible economic benefits because today everybody is talking about sustainability. They know that you have to be prepared before it's too late. And if it is too late, then what will you do? It's better to be prepared. Now, the other day we mentioned, first time in the India-US discussion, UDA came up. Yes. That shows the importance of underwater domain awareness. Yes. And we know that given the tech intensity of underwater domain awareness, the global south is at a disadvantage. Yes. And the kind of work which is being done by MRC could be immensely important for global south. Because you are working in environment which is very similar to the environment in which they are working, right? And you have certain capabilities which, in fact, adapt the technology to their environment, right? The temperate conditions are very different. The technology there may be very successful, but the same technology will not be applicable in tropical waters. And that is the bridge you are providing. You are providing the bridge for that technology to become relevant to the global south. So this is an opportunity. And right now, for example, right now we are talking about some kind of limited domain. Yes, because we are gathering those puzzles, pieces of those puzzles. When brought together, they will then create a larger picture which everybody will understand. But right now we have these puzzle pieces in hand, right? In isolation, people will have difficulty understanding them. But once we start putting them together and then showing them the elephant, which was not understandable, comprehensible by those 6 blind men, then suddenly they will see the economic importance of the elephant. Yes. So it can come in terms of technology transfer, where MRC can act as a bridge between the north and the global south. Once you develop those markers, those technologies, the industry will automatically get interested. Then they would want to know what are the applications here, yes, where they can also make money. Beyond this, there will be kind of demands by the regulator, because sometimes some stakeholders may not be interested in that, but the regulator is interested, because the regulator is looking at a larger picture, right? So the regulator needs this data. Otherwise, how would the regulator regulate this? So there will be a lot of input for the regulator, in fact. There will be a lot of input for the policy, in fact. There will be a lot of input for the regional and multilateral organizations, because they are worried with the larger picture, right? Sometimes the stakeholders look at their narrow band, but the society cannot afford to look at these things with a narrow band. So I think I would want to congratulate these young experts. They have done a wonderful job. But please remember, while your contribution to the larger picture is absolutely pivotal, but remember, your understanding the larger picture for your own specialization is also important. You may specialize in, you see, for example, sediment thing, or in biofouling or whatever. But you will appreciate how your specific domain then fits into the larger picture, which is much bigger than the individual, specialized domain. So, I think this is still a young field, and with so many complications in its behavior, its dynamics, I think we need to be patient. But the way things are happening in terms of the impact of human activity on the environment, very soon you will see there will be a lot of attention to these things. Yes. So I am very happy that at least these young minds are interested in these things, and once they produce something tangible in what they are doing, I'm sure the industry will also get interested, and the region will get interested in these things. So I think we need to concentrate on our capacity building, our skill building, our larger understanding of the process, and then of course convert that into solutions. Those solutions may be small solutions, those solutions may be big solutions, right? So I'm really, fascinated by this. In fact, the other day we were discussing these olive ridley turtles. They come to uh, Odisha, your state. Now, do we understand why they come there? Yes. But they produce millions of dollars in terms of tourism. Yes. Now we have no idea why they come there. Is it possible that one day they may not come there? And we may lose that major resource in terms of tourism? We must understand what's happening in the water, which is bringing them there, and what could happen in the water which may prevent their arrival again. That is what underwater domain awareness is all about. This is what MRC is all about. I think we need to run that simulation to understand why these tiny turtles, they come back to the same place. Yes. Yeah. So I think, this is an amazing field. And therefore, I'm not surprised that the larger society will take time to understand it. Yes. So with these words, I congratulate you and I congratulate these youngsters for their interest and what they have done, in fact. Yes. What they have done. Their immediate application will be in the aquaculture and fisheries. I told you, in fact, how we can use these tools to advise the fishermen where to go on a particular day so that they don't come back empty-handed. They don't overfish, right? They don't underfish, and they prosper. So these are very, very essential aspects. Yeah. So let's have patience. Let's wait for wonderful consequences of what we are doing. Thank you so much.